Welcome to the podcast, A Drink with Derek. Follow comedian Derek Richards on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe to his YouTube channel and watch all episodes of the podcast. Now grab a drink and join your host, Derek Richards. Thanks for listening to A Drink with Derek. Find out when Derek is appearing near you by checking out DerekRichards.com. See you next time for A Drink with Derek.
Tiffany, you're pretty, Tiffany, 24 years old, isn't that great? Well, Tiffany, you got everything going for you. You're very pretty. Everything's nice and tight and smooth. Everything's shiny. Right where it's supposed to be. That's because you're 24, honey. But, Tiffany, I got a little surprise for you. Yeah. Oh, it's coming, Tiffany. Yeah, it's coming. You have no idea what's coming, Tiffany, but time and gravity's going to show up one day and screw all that up for you, Tiffany. Here's your future. This is it. This is what it looks like. I'm 25. No, I'm twice that plus. But it's a lot of work now. I have a grandmother now, Tiffany, and everything is more work. How long did it take Tiffany to get all pretty tonight? Let's compare. 5 minutes? Oh my God. Don't you just want a buncher? I had to start on Tuesday, Tiffany. Oh, there's a lot of stuff I gotta do. I gotta tape stuff and talking stuff. You know what I had to do today, Tiffany? I bet you didn't have to do. Today, I had to pluck my eyebrows out of my chin. That's all my life is now, is hair control. I spend an hour every morning checking every inch of my body going, where's that son of a gun coming out of today? And today it was my knuckle. Oh my God! Big old hair coming out of my knuckle. I think I'm so afraid that I'm going to turn into my mother, I'm turning into my father.
Hey, it's A Drink with Derek. All the episodes for A Drink with Derek are on YouTube. If you want to watch them, if you want to listen to them, you can just catch them on iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Also go to Pandora, type in A Drink with Derek, and boom, the magic pops up right there. This lady here, it's taken 90 episodes of this show to finally get you on. She is in such demand. She has such a packed schedule. Even during the lockdown, I still couldn't get one of my dearest friends in the world, Kathleen Dunbar. She's a headliner up and down the Las Vegas Strip. She's been on LaughsTV on Fox, 3 appearances on there. Also had her own show here in Vegas, the Divas of Comedy, was involved in the Las Vegas Comedy Festival. And like I said, most importantly, one of my best friends that I met in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where you were residing back in 1999?
99. I started stand-up in 99. That was at Stooges Comedy Club with Joey Kulkowski. She's a wonderful, wonderful lady. We're still very good friends. She moved to Vegas for about 8 months and discovered she loved to gamble. And her husband did not like that. So they moved back to Wisconsin. They've been back in Wisconsin now. But
yeah, this city could do that to you. If you have any kind of a vice, it is escalated as soon as you move out here.
You can't go to the grocery store without somebody going, what do you need? What do you need? I'll get it for you. Get you a deal.
Uh-huh.
So, you have to be a little centered. I think you have to be a little centered to make it here, or you could get into a lot of trouble. But
a little centered and a little bit of you got to give the Heisman stiff arm to an awful lot of stuff that's out there as far as temptation goes.
Yeah.
That is for sure. It is a great city, and thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. And before we get into the interview, I have questions, 3 random questions I'm going to throw out here. These are going to be Vegas headliners, past and or present. I'm going to throw 2 names at you. You tell me one of the 2 names that you would go on a date with. Okay. Here we go. First one here, super easy. Frank Sinatra or Dean Martin?
I'd go on a date with both of them. I have to pick one.
Pick one.
I have to pick one. Probably Frank.
Frank, okay.
Yeah.
Wayne Newton or Elvis?
Elvis.
Okay.
What kind of choice is that?
Hang on. Wait till you hear this one. Carrot Top or Piff the Magic Dragon?
Frank Sinatra.
You crack me up. You got started, like you said, in 1999 in Milwaukee. You started later in life doing comedy. What was your push to go ahead and do it?
Well, I was a fan of something in Milwaukee called Comedy Sports, which was competitive improvisation created by Dick Chudnow. We would go see the shows, and then they'd say, oh, they have a class. You can take the class and learn improv and learn how to actually do these games. So I joined the class, and 6 weeks later, Dick Chudnow picked me to be one of his professional performers in a show. So I ended up doing that for about 2 years. I would actually take the summers off because I was showing horses back then. And then I got a call from Dick's wife that said, there's a dinner theater, murder mystery dinner theater, looking for actresses, character actresses. You'd be great at that. And I said, I would? She goes, yeah. So I went and I auditioned for the guy. I ended up doing that for 7 years. Kind of quit Comedy Sports. And then a girl that was one of the actresses with me, her husband was a bouncer at a place called the Safe House, which had open mic on Thursday night for stand-up. She goes, why don't you go down and do that? I go, oh no, that's a lot of work. You got to write your own material, and that's completely different. You're out there all alone, as opposed to like a cast in a play. Something goes wrong, there's a couple other people there to save your ass. So I signed up, and 3 weeks later, I was opening for Emo Phillips up at Appleton Skylight Comedy Cafe. And that was February 4th, 1999. I got my very first gig. And February 4th was actually my first open mic. So like 3 weeks after that. And then I just started getting work. There were 2 comedy clubs in Milwaukee at that time, Comedy Cafe and Stooges. And I started working them both as a host, getting more weeks as a host than most comics would get. You know how it is when you're starting out, you're lucky they'll use you once every couple months. Well, they were using me once a month, or sometimes more, because I was clean. I dressed nice. I showed up on time. I didn't get drunk. That was a long time ago.
Well, you still show up on time, and you clean up.
Yeah.
And the other stuff's kind of gone by the wayside, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah. And then I met this girlfriend. Her name's Bonnie. I met her at my local Italian place that I hung out at. And we just became really good friends. We were about the same age. We were both single. We started partying together and getting stupid. And then she says, why don't we go to Vegas? She goes, I've been going to Vegas for years with my family. I said, never been to Las Vegas. So we went to Las Vegas. We had a great time. And then about a year after that, she goes, have you ever thought about moving to Las Vegas? I said, are you kidding me? Yeah, that would be, she goes, we're both single. We could move out here. I go, yeah, I don't got any. My son was, getting married. He's all grown up. He doesn't need mommy anymore. I really wasn't a fan of the, Milwaukee, don't make plans on Sunday because the Packers are playing lifestyle. I really,
You strike me as a fish fry kind of chick. I'm kind of surprised you're backing down from the hallowed Green Bay Packers.
Well, I do love a good fish fry. Don't get me wrong, but it shouldn't be a religion. It shouldn't be Friday. You have to go, maybe do something a little different every once in a while. I don't know. But I decided to move out here. And she said, well, I'm not quite ready yet. Give me a couple of months. That's 19 years ago. And I'm still waiting for Bonnie to show up. She still hasn't made the move out here, but it was the best thing I ever did. I said, when I moved here, I give myself 5 years and I want to have my own show on the Strip or my own show anywhere. And by that November, I had my own show. So it took me, 6 months, 7 months, which was the ladies' night out at the old Greek Isle Casino. And,
oh, wow. Okay.
We did that one night a week, and wasn't making very much money, but it was, back then they were advertising in the paper. They would have a big ad and the Review Journal, the Las Vegas Review Journal, advertising my show. And people would always see me and go, "You're that girl, you're that funny girl." Yeah, that's me. And then I was there for about a year and a half. And the guy that was the head of the casino there got a job at the Sahara Hotel being entertainment director, Ron Garrett. And he called me up. He goes, "How about we move you to the Sahara Hotel and change the name to the Divas of Comedy?" So I did that. We did that. He brought my show over there, and I did that for 2 years. I just have to real quick let my stupid dog out. He's whining and driving me nuts. I apologize.
It's all right. It's part of the magic of these interviews.
Yeah.
But that's super cool. I mean, now, how did you get the show over at the Greek Isles in the first place? I mean, were you doing shows in Vegas and then Ron or somebody over at Greek Isles saw you and said, "Hey, I want to do this"? Or did you go ahead and approach them?
Well, there was a woman comic. There was a woman comic that was doing shows at the Greek Isle one night a week for free.
Okay.
There was no money. And I started doing it with her. I got recommended, and it was stage time. It was, I'm in Vegas, I'm getting some stage time. Well, that Ron Garrett guy saw me. And then we were doing that show. And then a couple of weeks we went to go do it, and there was no tickets sold. There was nobody there. So the girl that was running it says, "We're done. We're not doing this anymore. I'm not wasting my time anymore." So that was like in August. And November, I was doing a show at the Greek Isle that was part of this group of entertainers called The Cast. And there was Ron Garrett. And he goes, "Why did you guys stop doing that all-women comedy show?" I says, "Well, it wasn't mine. It was someone else's. And she just made the decision to pull the plug." He goes, "Oh, I want it back, but I want you. I don't want her. I want you."
Okay.
And I'll pay you $8 a ticket for every ticket you sell. And then, of course, in my mind, I'm going, I'm going to sell 100 tickets, and I'm going to be rich. We'd sell 5, 6 tickets, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so I started doing it. And then, of course, it was my show. So I started putting a little heart into it and, bring in one other woman comic. The show was only an hour long. And it was basically a way for me to flex my comedy muscle. Because Vegas is very different from Milwaukee, very different from any club I've ever worked ever in the world. It's a completely different, anybody that comes here from LA or the Midwest or New York, it's a different audience. They're very, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, you know that, right? You've been here a long time now. There's a different expectation from audiences here in Las Vegas. So it took me a while to kind of figure that out and tweak that out, So I was able to do that. And then, like I said, I got chosen to be the tour director for the Las Vegas Comedy Festival in 2003. So then I was gone from the Greek Isle. I said, "Look, I'm not going to be able to do shows for like 6 weeks because I'm going to be traveling all around the country." And it was during that time that I got the call from Ron Garrett, said, "We're going to move you to the Sahara Hotel." So I just called the Greek Isle and says, "Look, I ain't come back. I'm done." And moved over to the Sahara and did that for 2 years in the Casbah Lounge, which was exciting for me because that's where Don Rickles used to perform. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, there was just, I love, me, how I love all that Vegas old history stuff. I love all that stuff. And
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. What do you think it is about Vegas audiences? Because you brought up a very good point, because I've had some friends of mine come out here from the Midwest that have done shows, and everybody thinks that they're just going to come in and walk on stage and every audience is going to be absolutely explosive and waiting for comedy. And they come in and they do their set and they're like, "Oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be at all." Is there anything that you can pinpoint on it? I mean, I think what I tell people is you just get a different mix of people. You have you don't necessarily have comedy fans. You have people that are walking by and say, oh, let's go see a comedy show. I like to laugh. Or you get comps from the casino.
Yeah.
Or somebody loses their ass. They just dropped $5,000 at poker and they went, oh, here's a couple tickets for the comedy show. This will make you happy.
Yeah. And they send them in the front. They put them in the front in the VIP section.
Yes,
and
they
they've
do.
never been to a comedy show before. And now they're fighting. The husband and the wife are fighting. I've seen that to where, and now you gotta entertain these people. So you get what I call, you're exactly right, that I call them the drop-ins. You know, in the Midwest or New York or LA, at Tuesday, you're deciding, let's go to the comedy club Saturday. Let's get some tickets. Let's get 6 of us and all go to the club together and we'll have a great time. Maybe have a little nosh or a little dinner beforehand, a couple cocktails, you know, and, you know, it's a night out. In Vegas, you get a lot of just drop-ins. They're just dropping in. They're, like you said, they're walking by. And then not only do you have people from East Coast, West Coast, you got people from Europe. You got people from Canada. You got people from Mexico. You got people from all over the world. And none of them, you know, when you're in the Midwest, you have a room full of Midwest people. When you're in New York, you have a room full of New Yorkers. You don't know what they're going to dig out there. So doing anything, you know, like I say, I'll see an LA comic come to Vegas and they start doing a bit about how bad the traffic is on the I-10. What the hell are you talking about? Nobody knows about the traffic on the I-10. You can't do this, you know, location comedy. You know, you can do Vegas comedy, and even Vegas comedy. Some people just come and they're staying at Binion's, you know, the cab takes them to Binion's.
Sure.
And they stay in Binion's all week, and you're doing a joke about the Golden Nugget, and they don't even know what the Golden Nugget is. They've never even seen the Golden Nugget. So it's all very, you know, and you have to hit it. That's one thing I've learned about Vegas. If you've got a type of act that's kind of like, we're going to talk a little bit to them and slowly wheel them. No, you got to go out there and you go bam, 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 bam. You got a shot, you know. Even the shows are shorter than other cities, you know. Basically, hour and a half. I remember when they brought Phantom of the Opera to Las Vegas. This was a long time ago, 15 years ago, if not more than that. And they had to cut it to under 2 hours. They had to take out part of the most key songs in this Broadway show, this hit Broadway show, because Vegas audiences can't sit there for more than 2 hours. Their ass falls asleep. And the guy is sitting there with that song in his head, Wheel of Fortune. You know, he's like, I got to get back up there to that craps table. That craps table is just calling my name. You know, when is the guy gonna finally get the girl and I can go home? You know, so it's all different here. It's all different here. So I don't know. I can't explain it. It's kind of like, you know, someone says, explain what porn is. I can't explain it, but I know it when I see it.
I didn't see.
That's a whole line.
I didn't see that coming. No pun intended.
You could tell when a guy's up there, a chick's up there struggling because they're doing their back home act. You got to have a little tiny Vegas in there. There's got to be a little glitter. There's got to be a little sparkle. There's got to be a little edge. You know, they came here. People are expecting a little bit. I think they're expecting a little bit more. If that makes sense to you.
No, definitely. People come out to see a show and they pay good money, and they want to come and see, you know, a show. But yeah, it's a different animal. You talk to people that come here and they haven't performed in Vegas before, and they come off stage and they're like, okay, wow, that was different. And I'm like, yeah, it is different.
Well, it's here. It's like it's a Las Vegas show. Ta-da! You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a Las Vegas show. It's not just a comedy club. It's a Las Vegas show. You know, so if you go out there and everything.
I've never seen you do that in your act. I've never seen you do. I've never seen you do Kathleen Dunbar jazz hands before. That was sort of an interesting move. Okay, good.
Trying to make sure I'm not off camera.
What were you doing before comedy?
Well, like I said, I was a desktop publisher.
Wow. I cannot imagine you sitting behind a desk.
Text and dialogue into books. Okay.
Okay.
Like I would get pages and pages of raw text, paragraph, 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 and I would turn it into a manual or turn it into a book. Like for instance, you buy a new Honda and you get an owner's manual. I would do all the layout and design of that.
Okay.
And then all the linking, electronic books. So when you're looking at a part on on a tire or part of the engine, you could click on that link and it would take you to the index page what that part number is.
Okay.
And that way you could order that part number. So it was a lot of connecting the dots. And that goes with my brain because my brain is very, everything has a place and that's where it should go.
Right.
I know I drive Aaron nuts. That goes here, not here. So I've always been that way, like, kind of like I just want everything to be in the right, my checkbook's always balanced. Not that I even have a checkbook anymore, but you know what I mean. I always know exactly what
old school.
Everything's going on. Yeah. I'm anal retentive that way. I gotta be that way. So that type of work, I really excelled at that. And then when I quit to move to Las Vegas, the guy's like, well, we're sad to see you go. He goes, you were one of my best workers. But that company ended up closing. The owner of that company ended up in a mental institution, I found out later.
Because you left. That's what happened. You left.
That was it.
And it went in the tank. But that helps too, having that level of organization in this business, because you've got to be organized if you're doing this.
Well, that has helped. You know how it is. You're getting ready to go on a trip. I was just up in Reno, and it's amazing the stuff I have to pack, whether I'm gone 2 days or 5 weeks. It's the same crap. I have to pack the same crap. Contact solution, contact lens stuff, makeup remover, makeup, just the brushes I have. I have probably 60 brushes, makeup brushes.
Oh, don't I know it, girl?
The Spanx, the clothes for during the day, the clothes for at night. I mean, it's just, and if you're not organized, like I talk to some guys, I go, are you ready? He goes, well, I'm just starting to pack. I go, the shuttle's picking us up in 15 minutes. What do you mean you're just getting ready to pack? Come on. I packed 3 days ago. I'm just, I like to be organized, I guess.
But women have a lot more to carry on the road. I mean, that's why it's a lot more difficult for a female comedian to have all their, to make those trips, bam, 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 week after week after week. Oh, I can imagine.
The hair conditioners, the hair shampoo, the hair, I put in this argan oil in my hair, and then the spray stuff for when you're styling your hair with a hot iron. You have to have that. And then I have 3 different hot irons that I bring with me. And it's not for the weak.
No, it is not. Let me ask you this. Who first believed in you?
Well, I mean, like, who got me my first gig?
Yeah, who thought when you went up on stage, who was the person that you can think of that really said, you know what, you need to do this, and I think you've really, really got something here? Is there one person that sticks out in your mind? Roz Turner?
Roz Turner in Milwaukee. She had Turner Talent Network. She booked that Appleton Skyline Comedy Cafe, and she booked Milwaukee Comedy Cafe. So she had the 2 best clubs in the state of Wisconsin that she booked. And so I'd done a couple open mics. I'd done like the Safe House, and then I went to Stooges. A guy saw me at the Safe House, says, you should come to Stooges. She has an open mic on Tuesdays, and then if she likes you, she'll book you. And that guy was Mike Marvell, and Mike and I are still very good friends. But then someone said, Roz has an open mic down at Marquette University, at the Marquette. And I went down there, and I like begged her to get me on the showcase, because she had that showcase planned out for weeks. She only did it once a month. So she let me on the showcase, and boom, she calls me the next day and says, oh my God, I've been looking for a crummy woman comic, and you're a great woman comic. I need you. She goes, well, we just can't find any women comics up here. And she goes, "You're fantastic. You have an act. You have a thing. It's unique." And I think I had a couple of hacky jokes in there at the beginning because I really was lost and didn't know what I was doing. So between her and a couple of comics, they're like, "Yeah, don't do those hack jokes. Have it all be original and write your own stuff." And then she called me and she goes, "I need you up in Appleton tonight." And I go, "I can't do it tonight because I'm at work. I'd have to go home," which I lived right on Lake Michigan, right like downtown Milwaukee.
Sure.
I go, "I got to go all the way back home and pack a suitcase and stuff and then come all the way back out there." So I did the next night, and it was with Emo Phillips. And the first night, of course, I bombed. Like, it was awful. I can still hear that intro music, though. You know, they had that intro music, and then they played Cher, "Do You Believe in Love?" Every time I hear that song, it takes me right back to that stage.
Right.
Just bombed. I couldn't remember my act. You know, you got to do like, she goes, "How much time do you have? How much material do you have?" I go, "Like 7 minutes." She goes, can you stretch it to 10? So stupid me, not knowing anybody, I go, "Yeah, I can. I just talk real slow."
that always works.
And you now know what a bad idea that is, right? That does not.
Oh my God.
So I go there, and now I get to the club, and they had a full typed out page of announcements, of intros. So you have to remember, don't forget, talk to your wait staff if you want to have the nachos. And next week our acts are, I can't remember, and you're not allowed to read it. You have to memorize it all. So I literally have like a half an hour to memorize it. So and I have the feature's name in my head and his intro in my head and my act in my head. So it just didn't go well. So I went back to the condo. They have you stay in a condo.
Right.
With the feature act. The emo doesn't stay in a condo. He stays at the nice 5-star hotel. So, and I'm a wreck. So the next morning I got to get up and I got to drive back to Richfield, which is like a 2-hour drive, go to work all day, and then turn around and drive all the way back. Well, while I'm driving, my engine light comes on. I have a brand new Toyota Corolla. It's not 2 months old. So it's so under warranty still. So, and I don't have a cell phone. I don't even have a cell phone at this point. You know, it's 1999. Cell phones were kind of like this fancy thing to get. It's not something everybody has like now.
Right.
So I somehow I just drive into Appleton, and I don't remember how I found this. Did I gotta think, did I have a cell phone? I might have had no, I didn't have a cell phone yet. So I find this Toyota dealership, and they sat there and they worked on my car. So I got a bunch of quarters and I call my boss. I go, "I'm not coming to work today because my car broke down and I'm way up in Appleton and I don't know how long." He goes, "Well, don't worry about it. You took Friday as a vacation day, so we'll see you Monday, and I want to hear about how it went." So I sat there in that stupid waiting room at the car dealership, and I rewrote all my act because I was like, this is lame. This is lame. This is lame. And I just rewrote it all. I tweaked it and I rewrote it. And I went out there back that night and I kicked ass. I did great. I didn't kick ass, but for a brand new comic that's only 3 weeks of open mic.
3 weeks in? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I got the crowd laughing. And then they said to me when they paid me, you know, on Saturday night, they said, "Look, we were going to fire you, but Emo Phillips said, give her another shot. Give her a chance."
Wow.
She's just really nervous. He likes having women open. And then it just went well. It went well the rest of the week. And then I love telling this story. And then about 4 or 5 months into this, you know, my boss is getting tired of me using my vacation days, even though they're my vacation days. I should be able to do them whenever I want.
Exactly.
Taking Fridays off to go run around the state doing these gigs. So it was Thursday, and I'm getting ready to leave. Drive real quick to Madison to do this gig I had. Mm-hmm. And the boss comes out and goes, "Oh, by the way, mandatory overtime for everyone for the next week, starting tomorrow. And everyone has to work on Saturday." And I said, I I have Friday off. All vacations are canceled. And I'm like, that's bullshit. What if I had a flight to Hawaii?
Yeah, exactly.
And I go, what project? I'm not even working on that project.
Right.
To me, these were all like little angels in your life. I firmly believe this, telling you this is not for you. This giving you little hints of where you're getting support and where you're not getting support. So I'm a nervous wreck. I'm a wreck. So I have to drive to this gig. Then I have to drive back to Milwaukee the next day and work extra hours. And I have to work through my lunch. And it just was, I was going to have to get up like at 4 a.m. so I could be at work at 6 and start at 6 so I could leave at 4 to be up there and be in time for the show at 7. Okay.
Right.
You with me on this? So don't sleep at all. I don't sleep at all. Driving back to Milwaukee to go to work. And I stop at this little diner by where I work to get some breakfast because I thought I'm a wreck. And I sit at the counter, and this older woman is sitting next to me, and she wants to talk. And I'm like, look, I'm depressed. I have to quit doing stand-up because my boss basically said to me, you're going to have to decide if you're a desktop publisher or you're a comedian.
Right.
So I'm thinking, all right, I got to quit doing stand-up. It'll just be this little hobby that I do right in the city every once in a while, and that's it. Well, this lady's talking to me, and I'm like, I just didn't want to hear her. And she starts telling me that she's going to school in Madison. She's going to be a doctor. And I'm like, a doctor? You're like 50. You're going to school now? She goes, I've always wanted to be a doctor. And my parents were killed 4 years ago in a car crash, and they left me their house. I sold the house, and I'm putting myself through medical school. I'm going to start to cry.
Wow.
And she goes, what do you do? I go, I'm a stand-up comedian. I start bawling. See, I'm crying now about it. And that's
great.
That was the decision in my head. And I thought, screw you, you jerk off boss. You jerk off. I get to work. And he pulls me aside. He goes, I made a mistake. You're right. You're not working on that project. You don't have to work overtime. So you can leave whenever you need today. And tomorrow's vacation day is still on. Don't worry about it. You could take the day off. But if that wouldn't have happened, I don't know if that decision would have been pushed into my brain. And again, I think this woman was an angel. Somebody.
Yeah, things pop into your life and happen for a reason. Certain things. Yeah. And for you to recall this so many years later.
Oh, I'll never
that what she said, just her story had such an impact.
Yeah. I thought, what am I waiting for? What am I doing? And if I'd have stayed at that job and I'd have quit stand-up, that job, that guy, that boss, he ended up in a mental institution.
Right.
It's not funny, but that's hysterical.
That's again, you left and everybody went crazy. So what are you gonna do? What?
It's funny because a friend of mine that I worked with at that job, that I met at that job, is actually in Vegas tonight. He's coming to my show tonight. So
too funny.
Yeah. So.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But that were the two things. That Ross Turner and that lady. Those
at that diner.
Big, yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
That is so cool.
Here I am.
What in all your glory?
Happy podcast. Oh, things are just
wow.
For me.
Rude as hell. What
you had better than me? Nobody.
Are you kidding me? I love this. If you didn't bust my balls, I would actually think something was seriously wrong. What
Kathleen's sick. Has somebody checked on her?
Yeah. She's being really nice to Derek. Somebody.
No, I watch your podcast. You've had some great people on your podcast. Brad Garrett on your podcast. You've had a lot of great people. I listen to it.
I appreciate it. Well, people are going to listen to you.
And thank you for having me on.
Well, and even the guy at the, this actually gets played in mental institutions around the country. So if he's still institutionalized, he will enjoy hearing this story right now. Now, you've had a fascinating life. You and I have talked about this multiple times. Years ago, when you were younger, you had dated a quote unquote connected gentleman in Milwaukee who was involved in, say, maybe certain activities that are not condoned by law enforcement. He was the guy in Milwaukee. He was a Don in Milwaukee.
Yeah, if I were to say his name, everybody would know who he is. I'm just not going to say his name.
Got it. No problem.
We've had dinners. Fascinating man. I had friends that were like, why would you go out with a guy like that? I go, well, Bill did ask me to go bowling. Okay.
Why would you turn down the big bowling polka party?
Yeah, it just wasn't. Again, there was just something. My cousin lives in Denver now, and we talk about that all the time, that how we all knew, even when we were kids, that it was like, yeah, we're not going to stay in Milwaukee. It just wasn't in the cards
for you. Yeah.
Nothing against Milwaukee. I mean, I grew up there. I got a lot of family there still and friends there, but it was just time to expand out, I guess would be the word I would use.
Now, did you know what you were getting into when you started dating this guy? You knew who he was? Okay.
Of course. Absolutely. Everybody knew who he was. When I met him and he started hitting on me, I'm like, well, that's wild. And
so did you see anything, or was all business and conversation done behind closed doors and you were not privy to anything that was happening?
Well, he owned a hotel.
Okay.
He owned a lot of hotels. His family owned a lot of hotels and a lot of businesses.
What was happening?
When we got done doing dinner theater, one of the girls that was the bartender at the dinner theater place, she goes, why don't you come with me over to this, I can't say the place.
Gotcha.
And we'll just have a drink. So we get there, and it's just this very Italian, beautiful restaurant bar. And it's late at night, so it's, probably 10:30 at night. So it's kind of empty, but he was there. And I had a baseball cap on like I do now because I played a Catholic nun in the murder mystery shows and would have to take off all my makeup. So I had no makeup on, just this baseball cap. And he just starts buying me a glass of wine and asking me, I think you're fabulous. I want to take you out to dinner. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And then the next thing you know, he starts calling me, and he's calling me. And so my one very good friend who knew him, went to high school with him and his brother, said to me, she goes, go out with him. What are you kidding? These other guys that ask you out, that take you to, one guy literally took me to the Sizzler.
You told me this story.
Yeah.
Didn't he have coupons?
So she's getting ready to come and take our order, and he reaches into his pocket. Now I'm going to act like this guy acted. He reaches into his pocket and he goes, hey, little lady, this is for you. And he has me a coupon for free mushrooms with my stick. What?
So I'm assuming you immediately disrobed in the parking lot and did him in his car. Why would you not? You got mushrooms on your steak at Sizzler.
Yeah. So even though this guy kept asking me out, I'm like, I want to go out with her. I want to go out with him. But I thought, he's really pursuing it. And my friend Ann said to me, why don't you just do something to just, he's impressed you, and he's, trying to wine and dine you. Why don't you do something to blow the socks off of him? So the last phone conversation I had with him, I said, all right, I got to think about it. So what I did is I sent him flowers, this big bouquet of birds of paradise flowers, and this massive bouquet. And on the card, it said, okay, you win.
Very nice.
Blew him away. It blew him away. Yeah. It really
very nice touch.
Yeah.
So now,
I mean, it wasn't a long-term relationship. It wasn't, I think.
So how did it end?
Yeah. It just, went from seeing each other once or twice a week. It went to once a week, went to once a month. And then I was out at a local restaurant that I knew he was part of, I'll say
Right.
part of.
Sure.
And he was with another woman. And I was
Well,
like,
that made it
oh,
easy.
yeah. And I was like, God damn it, you know. But I knew it wasn't going to be this long term.
Right.
It just wasn't. But it was. I tell you what, I got some great stories from that.
Oh, I'm sure of that.
And it stepped up my game. No more Sizzler for me.
Well, now you've seen his picture at the Mob Museum in Vegas.
Yes.
Okay. So
and
anybody who's
going there very soon with my new friend Meyer Lansky. Meyer Lansky is a friend of mine here in town, who's the grandson of Meyer Lansky. He owns and the grandson owns a restaurant, a fabulous restaurant at the Flamingo called Bugsy and Myers.
over at the Flamingo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's on the board of directors for the Mob Museum. So,
Right.
And I haven't been there since they've done a lot of renovations. So I want to get over there. And Meyer said he'd give me a private tour.
Oh, it's an absolutely brilliant tour here in Las Vegas. I love the Mob Museum. I've been there on several occasions. But yeah, I would if you're going to go.
I love all that stuff. I love that stuff.
If you're going to go to the Mob Museum with somebody, go with the grandson of Meyer Lansky. Anybody who is not familiar with Mr. Lansky, please feel free to Google Meyer Lansky, Meyerlansky, and you will find out all the happy dealings that he was involved with.
And Godfather 2, Elia Kazan played that guy that was in Cuba, that Mike Corleone went to visit to talk about moving their operations to Cuba.
Yes.
That guy in Cuba was based on Meyer Lansky.
Okay.
Although Meyer didn't really like the portrayal, he says, my grandfather was always impeccably dressed. They showed him like in his shirt half open with his leg over the arm of the chair. He goes, he made my grandfather look like a slob. My grandfather was always impeccably dressed. That was his only comment. But
I love those old school Vegas mob stories. What's the biggest kick in the ass that happened to you in this business that taught you a good lesson?
I did an audition for a cruise ship agency in Miami. I was being pursued by cruise ships, really didn't want to do them. I knew I needed to move to Las Vegas. I knew I wanted to be a comic. There's all these things that kind of like, you just know it. I knew that the whole cruise ship thing was not what I wanted to do, how I wanted to live my life. But I was being pursued by an agency, and it was at a really bad time in my life where I was not working. I was not making that much money. I was struggling really bad. I literally used the points on my credit card to buy the airline ticket and pay for the hotel. I didn't even have like $30 for taxi money to get to this audition in the afternoon. And the guy, I kept telling the guy, I go, you said they love my tape. Let's just go with the tape. Why do I have to fly there and do a live audition? Well, it did not go well. And it was awful. I think it kind of like stopped me from getting work on cruise ships for a couple of years, which was a struggle, which was a hard time for me. I went through a really tough time. Had a short sell house I bought here. Brutal.
Well, especially when you're looking at this as an opportunity to make some dough. And now all of a sudden, instead of it being this positive thing, it ends up being a setback. And you're like, all right, this sucks.
I knew it was going to be bad. And it's not that I went in there with a bad attitude. I did not. It was this horrifically long day with all these acts in front of you, and you waited. It's the middle of the day and afternoon for all these old retirement people. It was a horrific audience. Nobody went out of there thinking, oh my God, did that go great? That was fantastic.
Right.
And
it's multiple different acts. It's not just comedians.
No, with singers or jugglers and everything, they're magicians. What I learned, that kick in my ass, listen to yourself. Listen to your damn self. You know what you're doing. Just like a lot of things that's going on in the world right now. I'm listening to what I know and what I feel and what I believe in. I'm not going to listen to what anybody tells me to do anymore. I'm done with that because I have gotten some bad advice. I had one agent when I first moved to Vegas. She saw me, this little old lady. She's about 4 foot nothing with this bad wig. She goes, oh my God, I love you. You're wonderful. I'm going to manage you. And the first thing I'm going to do is change everything about you. I'm going to change your name. I'm going to change your act. I go, then what do you love about me? you don't like my name and you don't like my act, then you're not a manager for me. You know, she wanted me to do these really corny old harebrained, you know. I'm like, no, I'm not. It's not.
You were like a comedy foreclosure that she picked up.
Oh my God. It was just, yeah. Yeah, I'm not on discount rack. I'm not on the discount rack. You're not.
No, exactly.
You know, you're not going to refurbish this dresser. You know what I'm saying? No, I am fine. Yeah. So it was what it was. And, you know, it was.
Right.
And then I just walked away from her because it slowly started to figure out. And that's why now when somebody will say, well, I have an idea, we're going to do that. No. But no.
Yeah, if the idea doesn't sound good to you, it's not. You're not going to approach it with any level of enthusiasm or anything for that matter. Now, as we record this, we're coming out of the.
We've been there. You and I both been there, where you like, here you are, you sign up for this gig, and now you have to do the gig, right? It sounded great on the phone, and you get there, and now they're running late. Well, you're supposed to be on at 6:00. But now you're going to get on about 7:30. I remember one thing I did years ago that it went so late. I was supposed to do a 45-minute set. And she's paying like good money, like $3,000, whatever it was. By the time the show I got on stage, I did 6 minutes. 6 minutes. She goes, and I knew she just wanted me to be able to say I did the show. She goes, just go up and that's what I got to do. She goes, are you okay with that? I go, oh, yeah.
I'm totally fine with that hourly rate of $500 a minute.
I have my check, yeah. But it is what it is. And that was a good scenario. But we all know I've driven 5-6 hours to get to a city, and you get to the gig, and there's 4 people in the audience. 4 people. And they're like, you're doing a show, little lady. You're doing it.
If you want to get paid.
Derek, I sat at their table. I'm up on the stage with the microphone, and I went, this is so stupid. And I just walked off the stage and went and sat at their table and just went, how you doing? Went through a purse. You know, what do you got in there? You know,
they probably had a blast.
Everything. What are you drinking? What do you do for a living? That's the shirt you wore. I just messed around with them.
Sure.
And, you know, but yeah, now I'm a little bit more protective. I'm a little bit more, no, I don't want to do that.
Well, and sometimes those things just surprise you. You think it's going to be a great thing the way it's all laid out ahead of time. And then you get there, and then all of a sudden here comes the curveball. So that's
true story. Back when I was doing dinner theater, the lady that I did it with, Addie Vischer, who's since passed away, she books us for this afternoon gig. She goes, this is this really rich community. It's really rich, all these rich people, and they want us to do a Christmas show, and all we have to do is sing along Christmas songs, and you do a couple of jokes here and do a couple of jokes, and boom, bang, bang, we're out of there. And we each get $150. Now, back in 1996, this was huge to me. This was huge. Oh my God,
sure.
$150, you know. And so we drive all the way out there. It's a trailer park community. It's a bunch of trailer park people.
But they're nice trailer parks.
They're all wearing those hand-painted Christmas sweaters. Everybody's got to be at least 70 years old. And the lady says, all right, so you guys are going to do an hour, right? And I'm like, an hour? Addie, you said 15 minutes. Well, she did say an hour, but I thought, so So
you sang the songs really slow?
Oh my God.
Yep. A little different from stretching from 7 to 10 minutes, then really from 15 to an hour.
Oh, it was just awful. It was just awful. And then we get done and we get in the car, and I'm just screaming at this Eddie. You ever do this to me? I'll kill you. So,
15 minutes an hour. Yes.
You know?
What are you going to do?
He's horrible.
Now, as we're recording this,
yeah,
we're coming out of the pandemic / lockdown that we've been dealing with. And I think that everyone and everything needed a reset. What do you think Vegas needed or needs to reset?
Boy, that's a
something
great
that was perhaps maybe bad before, and the pandemic shut everything down, and it gives you time to reflect and look back at things and say, okay, this is this is something that needs to change. In your mind, what do you think this town needs to reset coming out of this?
Well,
whole thing?
I still say we were doing great. We were doing great before the lockdown.
Right.
All the shows that we were working were making money.
Mm-hmm.
All the production shows were up and running and doing well. The hotels were full. I just think we need to get back to that. And we need to get back to, I think we just need to get back to where we were. I don't necessarily know if we needed a reset. I still say there are some people in power that need to go.
Mm-hmm.
That they obviously did not have our best interest.
No, exactly.
And I don't.
No, exactly.
But I think once again, there's a certain amount of, there's a wildness in this city. We're still the Wild West. You know, if you notice, I mean, there's no charging. I guess they're going to start charging for parking again. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did hear that. That's the one thing that I think from a reset perspective, I think, you know, let's just cut the shit with charging for parking. I mean,
yeah, you're right.
The whole nickel and dime aspect of that just seems real chintzy. I mean, they're making good money, and then they complain about not making the money off of gambling that they used to before. But then they also have all these people in these top management positions, which are extremely top heavy, which take tons of salary to keep these people, you know, in positions of authority. But I think the charging for parking, for me, I think it's the charging for parking, and then also like when you sit down at the bar in some of these casinos and they want you to spend so much or play so fast on the video poker games that are sitting there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not going to get a free drink. I'm like, really? Is a Mick Ultra really going to set you back that much? And I know it's not just one Mick Ultra. There's tons of people that come in there and do that stuff. But I think
they're nickel and diming everybody.
Exactly.
I mean, we talked earlier about, you know, coming. Let's say you come from the Midwest. You're in Indianapolis or Kansas City, and your comedy club opens up. Tickets are what? $8, $10?
Sure.
How much are tickets in Las Vegas? $65.
Yeah.
I think the minimum is $45, and then you add all the tax and all that crap.
Sure.
So you're already getting raped by the ticket prices, and then a cocktail. My God, if you get a glass of wine at certain comedy clubs, it's $14 for a glass of wine.
Oh yeah, or $9 for a Corona at a casino bar. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I know. You go to the club and your tab comes at the end of the night, and people are just, you know, and they wonder why, you know, they go, well, it got real quiet. Why do you think that? Well, they just dropped the checks. When they drop the checks, some of these people look and they're like, what the hell did we, did
they're staring at they're looking at a mortgage payment.
Yeah. So, and now you wanna stick it to them with parking? You're right. You're right. That's the reset. You get back to, you know, Vegas used to be, you'd come here and even though you weren't a big shot, they treated you like a big shot. You know, you get a free meal. It sometimes would be a crappy buffet. The buffets are $50, for God's sakes. You can't even get her to a buffet now. It used to be, you know, steak and eggs, $5. When I first moved here, we would go to the Orleans. It would start at like 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. And we would go steak and eggs, $5.99. And it was good steak and eggs. It wasn't that Sizzler steak. It wasn't that crappy Sizzler steak. It was a real steak.
No, it wasn't that dead possum on the side of I-15 that they picked up.
You can't find that anymore.
No.
You can't find these, you know, Vegas has become this really luxurious place to go. You know, the rooms now are going because these posh rooms. And I've always said, who cares about the room? If you're doing Vegas right, you don't even go to your room. You know,
it's a place to store your luggage.
Sleep, you take a shower and then you go back out and you hit it again.
Exactly.
So, they've changed the whole dynamic of what the Vegas experience is. You have to go to the spa and you got to have a $400 dinner. And I love all of that, but you can't afford that like you used to come 2-3 times a year. You can't nearly afford. When I would come to Vegas before I moved here, I think I would come with like $3,000. And the hotel bill we charge a lot of room food. We would charge breakfast and lunch to our room a lot, or breakfast and then late night dinner. And then because they were gambling, you know, the girl that I would come with, she had a player card. She'd get a second. I'd play on her player card. So we would accumulate as many points as we can. And then we would get to when you pay your bill as you check out, and they go, well, we're going to take off all of this food. So we'd have $600 in food on there, and they'd take all that off of there. So we had money. For,
those days are long gone.
Yeah, they don't do anything anymore.
No, my buddy came out here and lost. He spent probably, him and another friend of mine came out here, and they spent probably, I mean, they had a cold streak at the tables, dropped like $5,000 within 2 hours. And they go to the concierge at the casino and they go, hey, you know, can we, you know, get something here? And she literally offered them a sandwich at the deli. And he about lost it. He's like, you got to be kidding me. 2 hours, I lose $5,000. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah. That could have been a nice $200 comp, if not more, you know, at the rest. But then again, you know, and that's the thing too, like the shows now, the shows have to actually make money. The shows used to be just a distraction. Don't leave the casino. That used to be the thing. But the problem is now, so you have two major casinos. You have MGM and Caesars Corporation. So if they do leave the casino, they're probably going to another one of your casinos.
Right.
So they don't give a shit anymore if you leave the casino. Used to be, you know, you're gambling at the, you know, I don't know, say the Bellagio, and you go, God, I'm losing my ass. Let's go to another casino. The casinos would be like, please don't leave. We'll give you free dinner. Why don't you take a break from gambling? We'll give you some free dinner. You have a little dinner. And then what happens after dinner and a couple of cocktails? The guy's walking by that table and he goes, well, maybe my luck has changed now. And then they start gambling again.
Mm-hmm.
Now they don't give a shit. Go. Because you go across the street, they own that casino too.
Right.
They're getting you no matter where you go.
Yeah.
So it's really the dynamic of the city. But I agree. That should be the reset. You are correct. This parking. And when I found out that, you know, they're opening up pretty soon and it's going to be wide open again. And I can't wait to get back to that. And
I know.
And they go, oh, they're going to start charging for parking again. I go, so you didn't learn a thing. You didn't learn a thing.
No.
I know you and I've had very private conversations of things we've learned in the last year. And,
Sure.
And again, things in perspective on our personal life and on our career. And, you know, we both have made some tough decisions and some easy decisions on where we go from now. Where do we go from here? Those damn casino owners haven't learned a damn thing. They should have learned that, you know, we were getting pretty greedy. Somebody was at the South Point last week. Well, my cousin was in town. 8 guys on a big golf week. They golfed every day for 4 days. Staying at the South Point. He goes, Kathleen is absolutely packed because Michael Gaughan is brilliant and he knows what makes his customers happy. And he says, he gives a crap about $10 for parking. Do you think that's going to make or break the running of his hotel and his casino? He goes, no, he wants come in, bring your friends, come in. We don't go anywhere where we have to park. You and I've had that conversation where I've had friends come to town and they say, hey, I'm over here. And I go, no, I'm not meeting you over there. I gotta have to pay to park my car over there. Why don't you Uber over to me?
I know it sounds so silly to say that, but when you live in this town and you see the money that's made and then you see them gouging you, you go, you know what? No, I'm not going to play your game. So no, I'm with you 100%. It's like, yeah, there's so many other casinos you can go to, like Red Rock, Green Valley Ranch, Station Casinos. I mean, that's a good chain. I mean, they do a nice job. They cater to
and Coast casinos. You know, we go to the Gold Coast a lot.
Yeah.
We go to the Silverton, South Point.
Right.
You know, the off-strip casinos. Don't charge you for parking.
No, exactly.
You know, and is there a cocktail waitress walking around and bringing you cocktails? You're damn right.
They know the drill.
They're not tight about that. You know, they're not tight about that. But the big shot places, they're getting really, you You know, they don't want to give you anything. They just want to take all your money. And you're right. If you're losing $5,000, what am I getting for that? My God.
Exactly.
It used to be that if you were at a craps table or even a blackjack table and they just saw you lost even a couple $100, the pit boss is right there with the comp going, here's a $50 comp. No, that's not a lot of money. But it's $50 and you don't feel like a jerk. Don't treat me like I'm a jerk.
Yeah.
Give me something for my $5.
Yeah, I hope that you hope there's going to be some lesson that's going to come out of this for these people. I mean, you'd like to think that there's going to be enough people going, come on, seriously. But, you know, you never know. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's all in someone's decision that's it's all in the hands of people making a lot more money than you and me. So
I know.
Crazy. But now you come from last question.
If anybody thinks, oh, Vegas is hurting, you're crazy. They're making.
Oh, no, exactly. They're doing just fine. The last question here, you come from Milwaukee, which is a big drinking town. You come here to Vegas, which is an equally crazy drinking town. Your best drunk story to wrap up this episode of A Drink with Derek. I like how you've got to go through the Rolodex of all of them.
Yeah, I'm not trying to think of one. I'm trying to pick one. There's so many. My best drunk story. Like, is it the best, funniest, or the most dangerous?
Could be the most embarrassing. Could be the funniest. Could be one of those regretful stories.
Well, regretful story. One time when I was still working, way before I did stand-up, there was a new restaurant that opened up the street called TGI Fridays. And they had martini night. And I never had a martini before in my life. And they gave them to you in those big, like a stein, you know, this big, thick glass, big.
Sure.
I had two. And then got in my car. And I don't know how I made it home, but I ended up getting sick in my car and it took me days to clean out my car. It was disgusting. Oh. Yeah, it was pretty bad. And I don't think I've ever had a martini since. I don't drink martinis. I'll have a Cosmopolitan every once in a while, but it's usually when I'm not driving. But yeah, I've gotten. I remember once getting so drunk, we stayed up all night. We never went to bed. And then I went to work and I fell asleep at my desk. I mean, I wasn't hungover. I was still drunk. I was drunk at my job. Yeah. And that was a big thing in Milwaukee. You go to lunch, you have beers. No big deal. You know, there'd be people that would come in from out of town and they'd have lunch with us. Go, you guys are drinking beer at lunch? You go, yeah, it's Milwaukee.
It's Milwaukee. What else are we getting into?
I think it's a religion. You know, it was almost like bring you the beer and they'd be like, you're going to get
Kathleen Dunbar. Oh, yeah. Kathleen Dunbar, you are awesome. FunnyDunbar.com is her website. Follow her on social media. She is always here in Las Vegas. Brad Garrett's Comedy Club, the Comedy Cellar over at the Rio, the Laugh Factory Comedy Club. Always love talking to you, my dear, and wish you nothing but the best. You're one of my favorite people in the world.
I love you, dear. I am so glad we're friends. I've met you, and I am so glad you are in my life. And I hope I get to see you soon. Give you a big hug.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to A Drink with Derek. Find out when Derek is appearing near you by checking out DerekRichards.com. See you next time for A Drink with Derek.
You're watching Conservative Television of America, working hard to stick socialism where the sun don't shine.